Hello my sweets, it's Keisha. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm joining in collaboration with some of my talented YouTube friends, and it's a poster board foam core challenge. So when you're done watching my video, be sure to check out the playlist linked in the description box below. I'll be showing you how I made these farmhouse wall pockets that can be used anywhere inside or outside of your home. Alright, let's get to it! To begin, I'll be using 2 packages of these 5-gallon paint sticks from Home Depot, and they carry 3 in each pack, so that's 6 of these total. And I will also be using, sorry I don't have the packaging for this, but these are the 1-gallon paint stir sticks, and I'll be using 4 of these. Now I did go ahead and pre-cut some of these because again I'm using a handsaw. So for 3 of the 5-gallon sticks I cut them at 17 3/4 inches. And along with that I cut 2 of the gallon stir sticks at 7 1/4. For the next set, or shelf number 2, I cut the 5-gallon, 3 of them, at 15 1/2. And to go with those, I'm a little bit off here. These were supposed to be 6 inches. Somehow I'm off 1/8 of an inch, but I cut 2 that are supposed to be at 6 inches. Now I will be working with the smaller set just because it is fitting into the frame a little bit better, but they're basically going to be exactly the same. With that said, I forgot what I was going to say, so if it comes back to me I will mention that. So next, what I need is to create the sides. Now I do have a plate here that's going to help with the curve, and I'm going to make a 6 by 6 square, and this is just a scrap piece of paper. I save all of the papers that I use when I do misprints, and use them for either scrap for taking notes or for things like this. So I'm going to make a 6 by 6 square. And just to help me get the rounded edge, again, this is just one of those 2 packs of plastic plates from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to mark the center . And then I'm just going to take this plate here and use it to help me get a curved edge here. Okay. And then next I'm going to cut it out. Next, what I have here is a scrap piece of foam core board, and I'm going to trace our template here out onto this this piece 2 times, and then I have another piece for another 2 times, so total of 4 of these pieces here. And next I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. Now I'm going to take this plate and use it to help me cut this curve out. And I'm just going to continue until I have all 4 pieces cut out. All 4 pieces have been cut out, so next what I'm going to do is glue them together, or 2 pieces together, using this Gorilla wood glue. Now, you don't necessarily have to use wood glue. This is just what what my hand went on first. And I actually don't prefer to use hot glue for this step, just because sometimes for me it dries so quickly and then it's kind of bumpy. So this will give you a flatter result. So I'm just spreading out a bunch of glue here, and then I'm going to stick these pieces together so that they line up as best that they can. And then I'm going to take some masking tape and go around the edges of the foam board here. And I'm going to cut off the excess right along the edge. Okay, and so you should have something that looks kind of like this. And for the top, I'm going to do it a little bit different. I am going to come from the top and place this down first. Then I'm going to come over here and cut off the excess. Now, to get this to lay flat, I'm just going to clip it about, what is that? About 1/2 inch clips apart. And then I'm just going to smooth it down. And I've already done both of them here. Okay, so we're going to set these to the side, let that glue kind of set up a little bit. Next, I'm going to paint the paint stir sticks with a mixture that I made here of mineral Waverly chalk paint. This one is FolkArt coffee bean, and just a drop of this black Craft Smart acrylic paint. And then I added water to it to really water it down. I wanted kind of a brownish, grayish kind of look to it, and more of a stain so the wood grain could come through, which is why I watered it down so much. So next, what I'm going to do is take a baby wipe to have on hand, and I'm going to be painting all sides of this, front, back, ends, everything. So I'm gonna put some of this paint on here, and then I'm just gonna take it right back off. Also, to prepare the wood, I did do just a very light sanding on the front sides of them, which is going to be the sides without the numbers. So I'm just going to do this and then set them aside to dry. So I'm going to do this to all of the pieces. Now these are all of the small pieces. I do have the large pieces sitting off to the side. So I'm going to do them all at the same time so that they all have the same color and they sort of match here. So when I get this completed, I will be back. While the paint sticks are drying, I'm going to go ahead and start painting the sides here. And I will be using Waverly chalk paint in white. And I will be doing all sides. So while the sides are drying, I'm going to go ahead and put together the wooden pieces. I'm going to be using a combination of wood glue and hot glue. And for the smaller shelf, it needs to be six inches from top to bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of line those up right now. But I do need to find the center because I need to space these sidebars out evenly on here. And actually, I think what I'm gonna do is follow my rule of 3 and just go 3 inches in, excuse me, 3 inches in from each end. So I'm going to glue this first one flush, and then the second one I'm going to glue that flush as well. Okay, let me go ahead and remove the center one for now. And then I'm going to apply this middle one. I'm just going to eyeball it to the middle. And then I'm just going to secure them with a little bit more hot glue. So next I need to cut out the poster board that I'll be using for the outer portion of the shelf. And I have a piece of poster board here. I did have to cut it down or cut some of the pieces already out of it because it was too big for this area here. So this is the last piece that I need for the smaller one, and I've used about 1 1/4 pieces of poster board at this point. So for this one, I'm gonna need it to be 15.5 inches wide, and then I'm going to need it at 8 1/4 tall. And I'm gonna measure on this side 8 1/4 also. And then I'm just gonna turn this slightly and connect the two lines. So that's what it should look like. And now what I'm gonna do is cut it out using my blade here. Now you can use scissors to do this, but I'm gonna use my blade because I feel like I'll get a cleaner line. So this is what you should have, and you'll need 2 of them. Now this poster board that I have has a print on it, but I don't plan to use it for this project. I just want the white side. So I'm gonna face them in towards each other. And but if you like this, I did get this at Michael's because for some reason when I went to Dollar Tree, they were completely cleared out of poster board at the store that I went to. Luckily there was a Michael's next door, so I just went ahead and got that from there. But they didn't have any white either, so I don't know what's going on with poster board, but there seems to be a shortage going around. So the next thing I'm gonna do is glue them back to back. I'm just gonna let this glue start to set up, and we'll move to the next. Next, I'll be gluing on the sides of the shelf here, and I'm gonna be using a combination of wood glue and hot glue to do that. So I'm actually going to glue this so it's on the front of the wood slats. Rather than off to the side here. So I don't know if you can, yeah. I am so sorry. I thought I was still recording, but I wasn't. I put on the sides of the shelf here, and then what I did was I attached the bottom. I even was explaining how this got all wrecked like this. I accidentally ran it over with my chair. Anyway, so what I did was I took wood glue and ran a strip of it across the actual wood part. And then placed down the poster board. Then I came in and ran hot glue along the seam here to keep it in place. And then I did the same thing with the sides. I ran glue, the wood glue, and then I came in on the inside and ran another row of hot glue, and I made it all the way to where I'm gluing this portion before I realized I wasn't recording. So I'm going to put a little bit more glue. Again, I am so sorry. I'm not sure what happened, but I'm going to put the wood glue here. And then I'm just going to make sure that these line up here on the side. And then I'm going to take the hot glue I think I'm going to take the hot glue. Let me get another stick here. And take the hot glue and run it along on the inside of the seam there. And if you notice here, because this poster board, I'm gonna have to, it's kind of bowed out. So I'm gonna take a skewer and glue the skewer right along the top lip. Now, you want to, this is 15.5 inches long. So I actually had to get the Cooking Concept skewers out. It comes with 12 pieces, and they're the really long ones. Hopefully, if you don't have them, you'll be able to find them. But you want to try to find the straightest one possible. Fortunately, mine were all pretty bent. But you want to find the straightest one that you possibly can for this next step. If you can't find the Cooking Concept ones, I know that Walmart has longer dowels that you could buy individually. I'm not sure of the cost, but that is an option for you. So I did cut this down already to the 15.5. I don't know if I said that. And I'm just gonna put a little hot glue here to make that stay. All right. So next, I'm going to take this skewer and come right along the edge of the poster board and glue that in place. Now, if you can see that, I'm going to come along here and glue it to the poster board. Okay, and you can see that that bow has been significantly corrected. Now, if you want to, you can put more glue across here, across the top, and I think I will here. You just kind of want to be careful, because once you put the hot glue and you start painting on it, it does become visible, but we have ways that we can kind of hide it. So it'll be just a moment. So I went ahead and painted the front of this and the skewer here with the Waverly white chalk paint. And the next thing I'm going to do is glue some thumbtacks to the back of this. I don't plan on putting anything too heavy in it, just because it is a poster board on the bottom. If you wanted to, I would suggest, if you wanted to put something heavier in it, I would suggest using more paint sticks across the bottom here on the inside, just to kind of reinforce it a little bit more. I just plan to put florals and different things, that lighter things in here. So what I'm going to do is just take these thumbtacks here and glue them in the center of where these brace pieces are. You could also use a stronger adhesive to help those have a longer staying power. So for the last step, I'm going to come in with some burnt umber, and I have a makeup sponge here that I've kind of cut up a little bit. And how I was talking earlier, once you paint over hot glue, sometimes if it's not the smoothest application, it does look not so great. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of disguise it a little bit, not all the way across, but do some areas that look like it's rusting out. So again, I'm sorry I didn't show the paint bottle. I don't know what I did with it. Here it is. It is apple barrel, and it's the burnt umber. So I'm just going to take a little bit onto the sponge and just kind of dab it into the places that are kind of too ugly for words. So, and just make it look like this got a little wet and it started rusting out. Now I would have preferred to spray paint this, however the weather is not cooperating and it's been raining here and it's quite humid. So humidity and spray paint tend not to mix too well. So I'm also coming in where the sponge didn't get down into some of these spots and just covering it with a brush here. And here's what it's looking like so far. Now I do plan to keep these inside. I would say, since this is more of a paper product, if you're wanting to put it outside, definitely seal it with some kind of weatherproof sealer. Even you could use the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, since that tends to be more waterproof. It can go into the dishwasher, so I would definitely encourage you to do that if you do plan to put this in the elements. All right, so stay tuned to see how I style it. Don't forget to check out the playlist linked in the description box below. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button and leave me a comment below. If you'd like to see more, subscribe and choose all notifications so you don't miss out on my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, love, inspire, create. See you next time.